Keep it locked right here on the gallery with Benyamin, aka BadMan Benny. I tell you, says so.
Me want a sweet drum beat so me can skank up me feet. Feeling the vibes, feeling the vibes. The gallery I play, them now go delay. Feeling the vibes, feeling the vibes. Boom, this is King Tapo representing to the fullest. I always keep it locked to the gallery, you understand, with Benyamin, aka BadMan Benny. King Tapo say so. Play music. Are you feeling it?
Watch in the Brooklyn and me I say New York. BadMan Benny. You know what the thing are. Me I say Caribbean Power Jam. Some boy if you know. Simple as I represent. One not government. Right now, sound up. Sound up. Bad sound I play. Caribbean Power Jam. I go bust them big eh. Sound up. Sound up. Bad sound I play. Caribbean Power Jam. I go bust them big eh. Benny. One knock, one clap. No time at all, you no fire one pop with repeated shot automatic your lap. Head a roll like jelly and chop. Dub plate inna the body and stop. Triple dub plate pan heavy sound clash Benny. Play about the chop. Sound up, sound up, sound a go day. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big eh. Sound up, sound up, sound a go day. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big eh. Alright, Benny, tell them no fear man. Are you a kill sound from day one? Oh, them fi disrespect Caribbean Power Jam when we a kill from day one. Them coulda big like King Kong. Benny a fire shot man a fling bomb. Pump pick off like sick man. Them no fi bad fly and them gyal and pitch pan. So tell them sound up, bad sound a play. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big eh. Sound up, bad sound a play. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big head. Yeah man, you know what the thing there now, they do it under Bass, simple as I represent for the whole Caribbean Power Jam family. Yeah man, I Brooklyn and me I say New York. Sound.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. I'll be the breath of life is free, but it's a struggle to survive financially, economically, things rough. We need change politically. The breath of life is free, but it's a struggle to survive financially, economically, things tough. We need to focus spiritually. Love each other, time to come together. Stop the killing and the scamming and the gunting. Black minds thinking together. Black businesses, wealth for the future. Education, protection for the children. Steer them in a new direction. Raise the leaders we want to see, so we have a safer society. Life is free, but it's a struggle to survive financially, economically, things rough. We need change politically. The breath of life is free, but it's a struggle to survive financially, economically, things tough. We need to focus spiritually. Yeshua set us free from the struggles that we face daily. Open the scripture, burn Babylon, firm and strong in this system. Can't make words for the you. Walk in the path you choose for you. Life has ups and downs, but give your faith a struggle to survive financially, economically, things rough. We need change politically. The breath of life is free, but it's a struggle to survive financially, economically, things tough. We need to focus spiritually. Love each other, time to come together. Stop the killing and the scamming and the gunting. Black minds thinking together. Black businesses, wealth for the future. Education, protection for the children. Steer them in a new direction. Raise the leaders we want to see, so we have a safer society. Life is free, it's a struggle to survive. Economically, things rough. We need change politically. The breath of life is free, but it's a struggle, a struggle. Economically, things tough. We need to focus spiritually.
Yeah, I want to welcome everybody to the gallery this evening here on Caribbean Power Jam Radio. Thanking you all for joining us this evening, as we do every Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the station. So big up to everybody that's out there keeping it locked and loaded. This gallery, we spell it DAGALLERY. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Mixcloud, as well as on YouTube. So we invite everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our page on Facebook, and to follow us on Instagram, so we see everybody out there on the various platforms. Make sure you do download the Caribbean Power Jam Radio app to your tablet as well as to your phone. Also, once again, just want to big up everybody this evening right here that's listening to the gallery here on Caribbean Power Jam Radio. I go by the name of Benyamin, aka BadMan Benny, as we are rocking with you this evening. And got a lot going on for you with the program this evening. I'm gonna get things started real soon. Just gonna play some music, play some tunes. I'll start off the show with a Bia Yisrael song called Life is Free. She was the winner of the Looking Forward segment for the previous week. We're gonna hear some more tunes off of that rhythm as well, the Sky Voice rhythm just now. But this is October. This is our last show for this month, but October is, amongst many things, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we're going to be speaking to Nicole Sharpe. She was here with us in the gallery last year during this time. So we're going to introduce her soon, and we might speak to some other people as well. Once again, domestic violence survivors. We should be speaking to some others as well this evening, so you definitely want to keep it locked. So thank you all for joining us this evening right here on the gallery here on Caribbean Power Jam Radio. So once again, big up to one and all. Happy birthday to everybody that's celebrating their birthday today. And once again, anybody celebrating their anniversaries or whatever type of celebration you're doing today, we just celebrating with you this evening here on the gallery. So once again, just keep it locked. Let everybody know that we're on. Once again, we're doing this program this evening in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we'll be speaking to Nicole Sharpe, once again, who was here with us last year, amongst, as well as we might get some other guest speakers joining us this evening. So just continue to keep it locked right here to the gallery. We're not a studio this evening. For those that are watching, you can see we're not a studio, so we don't have a call-in number. But if you're out there in the chat and you want to participate in any way, you can just feel free to put your comments in the chat as we continue on with the program this evening. So once again, just thanking you all for joining us here on the gallery this evening right here on Caribbean Power Jam Radio. So we're going to get back into some music. Just once again, just thanking you all for joining us this evening right here. So we're speaking to Nicole Sharpe soon of the Hurley Foundation, as well as once again some other speakers who may be joining us this evening. So gonna get back into some music, real quick. Gonna get into some more music from the Sky Voice rhythm, and then once again we will be speaking to Nicole Sharpe real soon. So keep it locked to the gallery right here on Caribbean Power Jam Radio.
Oh na na na, oh na na na, it's audio, Sky Vice Records, yes. Well, alright, yes. From the first day I met you, giving your love, I never leave you, I never break you down, girl, baby. Always show you that I need you, baby girl. I'll never leave you, I'll never go around, baby, yes. But why when the chips are down, you are never around? Why you're playing with me, darling? And all of the sacrifice I made for you in my life. Stop playing games, girl, don't you play with my heart. You play and tear it apart. Don't you play, girl, with my heart, baby, lady. Stop playing these games of art. Whoa, whoa, oh, yes. Whoa, whoa, girl. Whoa, whoa, oh, yes, baby. Hey, yo, so why did you have to hurt me so, hurt me so? Oh, right now, me have to let you go, let you go. You want come take man for your papi show. Oh, man, me have no figure, me nah go pose like no dummy now. Slip your slip and your slide, baby. So nobody come cry, baby. Me don't see say you are act shady and one come jive man crazy. Don't you play with my heart. You play and tear it apart. Don't you play, girl, with my heart, baby, lady. Why playing these games of art? Whoa, whoa, oh, yes. Whoa, whoa, girl. Whoa, whoa, oh, yes, baby, yes. Hey. From the first day I met you, I give you love, I never beat you. I'll never go around, girl, baby. Always tell you that I need you. I give you love, I never beat you. I never go around, girl, yes. But why when the chips are down, you are never around?
Oh boy, oh boy. From the very first time I saw you, boy, you make my wishes come true. Listen now, I never knew that I could love again until you appear before my eyes. You give me joy, you clear my skies. You turn my sky from gray to blue. Listen now, everything I do for you. I want us to be happy all the time, day and night. Once my heart was broken, yeah.
Good night to you, Natalie. See you out there. Big up yourself on this rhythm. I should say the Sky Voice rhythm.
The day I found you, you give me joy. You clear my skies. You turn my sky from gray to blue. Listen now, everything I do for you. I want us to be happy all the time, day and night. Once my heart was broken, yes. I never knew my heart could mend again until the day I found you. You give me joy. You clear my skies. You turn my sky from gray to blue. I never knew I
can. Yes, I never knew my heart could mend again until the day I found you. You give me joy. You clear my skies. You turn my sky from gray to blue. So I wanna thank you. You give me joy. You clear my skies. You turn my sky from gray to blue. Yes, I never knew I could love again. I never knew I could love again. I never knew I could love again. When I found you, I don't want to lose you.
Nice record. It is said not to be ungrateful for the ones who have done good. Are powerful, don't be hateful. Be careful of the bridges you burn. What you give is what you get in return. Some people are so ungrateful. Ah, when you make them belly full, they quick fi sell you out for your plate full. Some people are so ungrateful. Ah, when you make them plate full, they quick fi sell you out for your red bull. Not even a second or a minute, I don't wanna be around you. Your number is black and deleted because your words are not true. See why people not like people, because of people like you. Fail to show gratitude, you're inbred. So what you want us to do when some people are so ungrateful? Ah, when you make them belly full, they quick to sell you out for your plate full. Some people are so ungrateful. Ah, when you make them plate full, they quick to sell you out for your red bull. Them like a CD 38 gene. Tell them to look up and know what it mean. Me see them a try create a scheme. Them heart it no pure and clean. Me get fi find out them no real. Try everything fi try stop me dream. Them lock me up and show me where fi free. But them never know what I got the key. Some people are so ungrateful. Ah, when you make them belly full, they quick fi sell you out for your plate full. Some people are so ungrateful. Ah, when you make them plate full, they quick fi sell you out for your red bull. Not even a second or a minute, I don't wanna be around you. Got to treat you, woman, you know what is black and deleted because your words are not true.
Take her out as often as you can. Tell her you love her and treat her like a queen. Send her flowers, let she know that she is special. Let her know that she's the woman of your dreams. Take a walk in the park now and then. Hold her close, put her hand in your hand. Whisper softly in her ear, time and time again. That woman that you got is a 10 out of 10. If I were you, my brother, I would take her out. Give her enough security when there's no doubt. Show her you're a hard-working man who she can depend on. Someone who's got her back 24/7. If I were you, my brother, I would take her.
Yeah, so once again, it is the gallery here on Career Power Jam Radio. We are here rocking with you. It's another, so we said earlier, at the end of the month of October, which amongst many things is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we are joined here this evening with Nicole Sharpe of the Heather Hurley Foundation. She was here with us last year. I'm going to give her an opportunity to introduce herself to everyone once again. Let me just make sure everything's connected as well. So once again, welcome to the gallery.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we can hear
Can you hear me good? Okay.
Yes, we're hearing you very clear.
Okay, good. Thank you for having me on your show again.
Because I said, you know, as I just mentioned earlier to everybody, of course, those are watching, we're not in studio this evening, so we have to make sure everything is connected proper. But yes, so we're hearing you nice and clear. So once again, welcome to the gallery of second time around. So introduce yourself and your organization.
Sure. My name is Nicole Sharpe. I am the founder of the Heather Hurley Foundation for the Prevention of Domestic Violence. We're based in Brooklyn, New York, but we have offices not just in New York, but in Uganda, Africa.
So you're now, I should say now, when did you get the Ugandan chapter?
Oh, that happened during the pandemic in 2020.
Okay. All right. So, and just to once again remind everybody that it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So the Heather Hurley Foundation does a lot of things in regards to domestic violence. So how did you get that connection? I mean, just jumping right into that, and then we'll get back to the history of the organization. But how did you get that connection with Uganda? What was happening in Uganda that you felt you had to?
So all over the world, the incidences of domestic violence skyrocketed. And I went on a missions trip in 2019 to Uganda. And I have to say, I'm a woman of faith. So I literally was moved by the voice of the Lord to contact a pastor that I met when I was on my missions trip during the beginning of the pandemic. And I asked him some questions about how everyone was doing. And at first he didn't want to tell me, but he eventually told me, hey, we're starving. No, everyone is, stuck in their homes. They couldn't go out because of the pandemic. They couldn't go to work, so no one could make any money to buy food. And the pastor's name is Deo Gracias. We call him Pastor Deo. He has this passion for helping women who are survivors of domestic violence, actually helping them to be protected from domestic violence. And so all of the ladies that he was helping, everyone was starving. And so our organization started to make movements to help them.
So once again, we're talking to Nicole Sharpe, the Heather Hurley Foundation. And so let everybody know some background on the organization itself, as well as the name of the organization, Heather Hurley.
So Heather Hurley is my late mother's name. My mother was a victim of domestic violence all her life with my father. They were married for 17 years. I just remember my father constantly harassing my mother, constantly beating her, and just abusing her emotionally, mentally, verbally and physically. And until one day my father took out a gun and shot her to death in our home. And my siblings actually witnessed the murder while I was trying to get help on the phone. And we had to try to get out of the house. And then, once again, the Lord helped us to escape that home. And so as I got older, life wasn't easy at all. It was very difficult. We didn't have the support that we needed from our relatives. So as soon as I became 19, I was on my own. And as I got older, I have to say my late 20s, I just wanted to use my mother's life to help others who are in domestic violence situations, to help them to see that unfortunately this could be the eventuality, and also to help abusers also to see what they do to the children. I always say that children are the most silent of the victims of domestic violence, and although children don't say much, they're actually being structured and their minds are being crafted by what the violence that they see. And I always say that victims and abusers come from the same household. it's usually, for the most part, the majority of the time, people who grew up seeing domestic violence. And so it becomes something that's normalized in their lives and by our society. And so I just wanted to use my mother's experience to help others, use my voice and my experience also to help others to understand what children go through, and just try to change the face of domestic violence in our country.
So particularly, what are some of the things that your organization or your foundation does, to bring awareness and help those that are going through that situation?
So we support people who might be actively in a domestic violence situation to get help, to get emergency help, just guide them to resources that are there. We also offer some support group counseling. And one thing that we've been working on doing, which we're getting closer to now, is incorporating a teen dating violence prevention program into local high schools in New York City. So we're getting closer to that now so that we can cause an intervention in the lives of young people, because that's where it begins when they're young and now getting into intimate relationships.
So once again, everyone, we're talking to Nicole Sharpe of the Heather Hurley Foundation. Her foundation, as she spoke about, international at this point, and doing many things in order to not just bring awareness, but to support those that may be in domestic violence, or as they call it today, intimate partner violence or abuse scenarios. So
yes,
give people like a brief walkthrough or maybe a brief overview of some of the steps that people may need to take if they know someone that's going through that type of situation.
So if a person knows someone that's going through that situation, it's always good to start a conversation with them. Don't be judgmental. Just hear them out. Just be that listening ear for them. I know a lot of times we want to just tell them what to do. Hey, you got to leave right now. But sometimes they're not ready to. And there's many reasons why a person may feel stuck. But for now, just be that listening ear for them and let them know whenever they do make that decision to take that step that you're there for them to help them. One of the things that we have to keep in mind, though, is that when a person does make up their mind to leave, and a lot of times, like my mother tried to leave my father when he was at work, and she went over to her mother's house. So of course, my father knew she was at her mother's house. But it's always good to go to a person's home if you can, who's not in your known circle, where your abuser doesn't know who they are or where they live. And sometimes it means going to a shelter temporarily. And I know no one likes going into a shelter, but they're there for that particular purpose. And in shelters, you can also find many, many resources that can help you to get back on your feet. So I would never say no to a shelter. If my mother took advantage of shelters, she would probably be alive today. I have actually a list here. When you start a conversation with someone, don't be judgmental. It says, also believe them. Many victims fear not being believed. Express that you hear them and you believe what they're telling you. Validate their experience. Survivors want to be heard. Practice active listening skills and validate what they are telling you. Ask how they want to be supported. Be sure to ask them what they want and need. Don't impose your thoughts and feelings on them. Build on their strength, because survivors are strong. That's why they're still alive. They're strong. Point out the ways in which they have adopted to solve problems. Develop courage and stay determined, even though they're in that situation, that impossible situation. And then support their decision. Show support for decisions a survivor makes. They know their relationship best and the risks they feel comfortable taking. If you're concerned about safety, you can say, your situation sounds dangerous and I'm concerned about your safety. How can I help? You can also give them control, because their control has been taken away from them, or they believe so by their abuser. Give survivors control and don't dictate what they should do. Empower them to make their own decisions. And finally, take it seriously. Domestic violence can be deadly, and I know that. always take it seriously and follow these tips when helping a survivor.
So
I know a lot of times first responders, they might, well, in the past at least, they would come by, my home, officers, and then just have my father just take a walk and then bring him back. That's not taking it seriously. My father was violent. He was never arrested before he murdered my mother, because all of these signs that led up to it were just ignored. Just take a walk, take a breather. It's in the cold weather, just relax. No, it's my father had a problem, deep-seated problem, and no walking in the world could intervene. He had a problem that he needed help. So I just wanted to mention that.
So once again, those are some of the steps that people can take if you know someone that's going through that situation of domestic violence or domestic abuse, and you want to get them to a safe place as soon as possible. As we just mentioned, shelter, as Nicole mentioned, is probably the best option to get someone in. And so as you're doing, with the resources that you have, and as you're reaching out to those in Uganda and possibly other areas, do you feel like, as I'm talking about the physical, not the financial resources, but do you have the physical resources you feel to actually reach, globally, to get your message out there and to bring awareness and help?
Well, realistically, we need more funding to be able to help the ladies that we're helping in Uganda. Right now, we help 15 women and there are 55 children. And so these ladies, they need a safe place to live. And for a number of them, we help them to pay their rent. And at the same time, we also gave them like mini grants to start their own businesses, the ones who actually had business plans. And Pastor Dale and his wife actually helping them to instill some business skills so that they can be able to maintain their business. So we have a number of ladies that have businesses now, and we want them to be financially financially independent. We don't want them to go back to the abuser because they need money to support themselves and the children. So these are some practical things that we're doing. What we want to do also is actually have a village. Now the ladies are scattered in different locations. We would love to have land that we can build on and have a school there, because school is quite expensive there as well. The children need to go to school. Some of them can't go to school because it's so expensive. So we want to have a school there, some temporary housing for the ladies, places that they can also hone their skills like hair braiding, pottery, crafts. We actually have a boutique right now where we hired a seamstress to teach ladies who are interested how to sew so that they can use that to make money as well. But we would love to have this all in one safe space. So we always ask for donations. And if you would like to donate towards the Heather Hurley Foundation, and particularly to this project we call the Mirembe African Village. Mirembe means peace in Lugandan. So Mirembe African Village, you can go on www.heatherhurleyfoundation.org. That's HEATHER, Hurley, HURLEY, foundation.org. And there's a big purple donate button there. You can donate there. And you can read more about the project, the Mirembe African Village project there as well. You'll see it on top. But yeah.
And once again, yes, and we'll make sure that we get that information up there on the gallery page on Facebook as well as on Instagram. YouTube not so much yet because they don't have that type of capabilities, but just people that are watching, you just make sure that you share this video, and of course we'll continue to give that information out throughout the course of the program. So once again, everybody, we are speaking with Nicole Sharpe of the Heather Hurley Foundation. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Yes. And last year we were actually all in studio, Nicole and Dion and Fayan and Shaquana as well, and we had some people that joined in on Zoom as well during that time. So we had a lot of people joined in the conversation. Unfortunately, we were able to. When I say saying like this, unfortunately there were so many that we could get into contact with
Yeah.
for that situation. When you doing a type of topic and that type of program, it's just unfortunate that it's easy to find people that are going through that situation. But at the same time, one of the things that was mentioned last year is, that type of network, that support system is what helps those that have survived get through. So, you spoke about some of the steps, so we're leading to that now. So you spoke about some of the steps of for those that can help, someone that's going through that situation. Now, when someone has survived that situation, what are some of the things that you feel need to be implemented in that individual's life in order for them to move forward?
Before I go into that, I do want to mention the domestic violence hotline.
Okay.
And it's my favorite resource because they can help you with anything. So this hotline is open 24/7. The number is 1-800-799-7233. That's 1-800-799-7233. So it's a national number for the US. So no matter what time of the day or night, you can call them, and you can be sent to someone in your region, in your area. When I say someone, I mean a person that you can speak to one-on-one, and then they'll forward you to different resources, be it emergency shelter at that moment, even transportation to get there, police officers, ambulance, they even childcare. They'll help you with everything that's needed at that time. So 1-800-799-7233. That's the domestic violence hotline.
I'm gonna get that into the chat.
So
as we're speaking, and then you can go ahead. You can go ahead and speak.
So once a person finally gets out of a violent situation, I love therapy. I know that in our community, there's a stigma associated with getting therapy, but why not use people who have a degree? They've been trained professionally to help you to deal with problems. We all have issues. I believe everyone should see a therapist at least once in their life. Why not take advantage of that? I have to say that therapy has helped me as a child and even as an adult to get better adjusted. I grew up in trauma. So I would say I grew up in like a subculture where everyone saw me as Nicole, the honor student, but they didn't really know what was happening behind the scenes. I was being traumatized on a daily basis by what I would see and hear, and then have to create these defense mechanisms to be able to survive mentally, and physically. And after all of that, and when it's all said and done, and then now, my mother was killed, I needed help to grieve. I needed help because now I'm an orphan. I needed help now to adjust to a more normal life away from constant violence, instead of me having to react. I just kept reacting after that situation. Like I'm still seeing violence. My body reacts because my body was trained from childhood to protect me from the violence that I saw. But now that it's gone, I still have tics, nervous tics, for example, and I was still, have memory loss. That helped me to deal with things, not to remember everything. But now that everything is kind of calmer, I don't want memory loss anymore. I don't want to have bodily facial tics anymore. So therapy helps you with all of those things. So I would say get therapy. That's my long way of saying get therapy. Right. There's nothing wrong with it.
So basically the recommendation for those that, have survived, for all of the domestic violence survivors, whether you are one or whether you know of someone that is one, is to get therapy. And with because we put the hotline for the National Domestic Violence Hotline in the chats for YouTube and Facebook. So when people call that hotline, would they also have access to therapy?
Yes. Yes, you can even ask them. They might even offer as well.
Okay, so just wanted to make sure that they do cover all aspects of domestic violence and abuse. So for those that are going through that, it's something that of course, me as an individual, I can imagine what someone goes through, going through that. But it's definitely that situation that people should and need to stay in. So if you do not see yourself wanting to be in that situation, you could always call out for help. So definitely, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. We'll also put the website for the Heather Hurley Foundation as well in the chat, so you can contact Nicole via that. And also, in terms of getting donations into them, because as she mentioned, they're trying to do help overseas as well. And of course, trying to build a village, to protect those that are going through that type of scenario. That's definitely going to need a lot of funding. So definitely commend you for the work that you are doing. And as you mentioned, that your siblings were the ones that witnessed what happened to your mother. So as you being the one that actually got through, you mentioned that you're an honor student. You basically not really able to cope, but you were able to deal with the scenario and still function in life. But how were your siblings handling the situation?
Thank God that everyone is stable. My sister also was an honor student, and my brother, he got his master's. We're just trying to live a more normal life. And although we have these memories, it doesn't stop us from succeeding and progressing in our life. And our faith in God, I have to say, is the key that also keeps us progressing despite what we've been through. I can't underestimate that at all either.
Yeah, so that's just an example for all of those that are out there, that it's not, something that you don't want to go through, stay in. It's not a situation that you want to be in, but you'll have examples right here of those that survived and were able to deal with life afterwards, and even at the same time help those that are in that situation, and also prevent people from getting into that situation. So hopefully no one else, ultimately in the long run, the goal of course is 100% that no one has to deal with the traumatic situation that Nicole and her family has gone through, and what other people have gone through, and the countless lives that have been lost due to domestic violence. And also just making note of this as well, people focus on the abuse and the violence towards females, but men as well. You can go through a violent, abusive situation as well. So, the hotline and the various foundations are out there are for women as well as men. And,
Did you know? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Did you know that 1 in 4 men experience physical abuse by their partners, and 1 in 3 women? And these are the reported cases. And just keep in mind that most cases are not reported because of the shame that people have and shouldn't have. So right now reported 1 in 4 men, 1 in 3 women.
So it's basically 25% of men and 1/3 of women. So
reported. Right,
that's based on reports. And as you mentioned, men don't report that because of the shame, of the stigma of not wanting to, be looked at as being abused. And it's the same stigma that women go through as well. Women don't want to have that stigma. They also don't want to get their partner in trouble. There are many things that women deal with. They feel that they love their partner, and they also feel that their partner loves them, and that's just the way they express the love. So there's a lot of stigmas out there in regards to that, and we just have to get to the point where we can get past that and get through that. So in terms of women that feel that being in an abusive relationship and they don't see it as abusive or violent is a way of their partner expressing love, what would you say to that scenario?
Anyone who hits you is not loving you. That's not love. It reminds me of slavery. To keep someone under control. Domestic violence, intimate partner violence is all about one person feeling the need to have power and control over another person and using any tools necessary in order to do so. And some people beat people, some people emotionally abuse people, verbally call them names to put them down. This is not loving. If you don't feel as though you're growing in a relationship, that, you know, that's not love. A loving relationship is supposed to be progressive. Both parties are supposed to grow. Hitting a person down is abuse. It's not love. We have to try to teach that's not love. We learn that, you know, I know that there's some, especially in the Caribbean community, that believe that only if someone hits you that they love you. That's very warped indeed.
So for those that, once again, you don't have to stay in that situation, don't feel that that's a way of your partner expressing love, whether male or female, that you definitely want to get out of that situation. Now, in terms of the abusers, you know, the ones that commit the crimes, because they actually are crimes.
Yes.
What are some of the steps that you feel should be taken towards those to, you know, help them not to be abusers any longer and to actually realize, you know, what they're doing is wrong?
I think therapy, and that's therapy. But I know that, first of all, if a person doesn't believe they have a problem, they're not going to seek therapy. So somehow we have to help them to identify that, hey, you have a problem, that this is not right. And our society actually feeds into making us become complacent with this, with violence. And that's not right. Whenever we minimize violence and say, oh, you know, they're always making that noise over there, they're always like that, you know, she probably did something to him or he probably did something to her, that's minimizing. And then the abuser doesn't believe that they have a problem because this is normal, it's been normalized. And that's why I'm trying to push that program. It's called Bloom 365, the Teen Dating Prevention Program. Just trying to get that into schools to help young people to be able to identify that, hey, I might be an abuser. That program has been around, I think almost 10 years now. It started in Arizona and it's in a number of cities across the US. And they've gotten back so much feedback from young people that would write letters in anonymously and say, I was an abuser. I didn't realize I was. And I know there are a lot of adults out there who don't realize they're being abusive. So somehow we have to be able to identify as a culture, what is abuse? Now, and then once you identify and acknowledge it, then seek help.
So once again, we are talking domestic violence this evening. We're joined by Nicole Sharpe of the Heather Hurley Foundation, for those that are, you know, currently joining us. And, you know, we're going to get into some more topics in regards to domestic violence. We may be speaking to some other survivors as well. And, you know, anybody that has any questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat. Just welcoming everybody out there in the Caribbean Power Jam Radio app. Good night to you, Michelle. Good night to you, Tutu, and everybody else out there. See you out there, Terry, on the YouTube, and Kim Casey and Natalie and everybody out there on Facebook. So make sure, you know, just taking this opportunity, as well as Janet. I see you out there, Janet. Just want to take this opportunity to remind everybody to subscribe to the YouTube channel for the gallery, like our page on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. And, you know, some people are hearing your story, and also you know, commenting in the various places. And, you know, many people do feel, you know, for you in that scenario, but, you know, it's just at least one positive that you were able to use this scenario to make yourself stronger. You know, many people go through situations like this and end up being weaker, but you're an example of, you know, taking advantage of the opportunity to become stronger as a result of this. So gonna continue on with the program as we're gonna get into the second hour of our program soon. I'm just gonna play some more music. I'm assuming and hoping Nicole can still stay with us, because I want to touch a little bit about the teen aspect of domestic violence as well. being that you did bring it up earlier. And so, I just want to speak a little bit more about that. And once again, we may be joined by others that are survivors. And, if anybody else is a survivor or know someone else that's going through that situation and you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. And, we'll just join in the conversation. So once again, it is the gallery. Once again, we are not in studio, so don't have a number for people to call in. So you just have to basically put your questions and comments out there in the chat. So I'm gonna get into some more music a little bit. Gonna get into the health tip, and of course, a brief, our looking forward segment of this program, the gallery, and then we're gonna continue talking to Nicole Sharpe of the Heather Hurley Foundation. But in the meantime, you can listen to some music, and also I'll post the website for the Heather Hurley Foundation in the chat, so you can take a look at that while the program goes on. So once again, joining us in the gallery, I'll go by the name of Benyamin, aka BadMan Benny, and we're gonna just get into some music as we continue on with the program this evening. So continue to keep it locked, and we're just grateful that Nicole is here with us.
These are the things I see right in front of me.
As I open my eyes, oh, I give thanks for life. Yes, Lord.
As the days go by, out comes the sun, shining on my face again.
The Gallery with BadMan Benny.
Grades get me high so I can meditate. Oh, dreams of brighter days. Highest grades we blaze. Dreams of brighter days. Giving thanks. As the days goes by, giving thanks.
Anything you want, just call on me. I got a big bright smile, but my days are dark. Hungry till I can barely walk. Oh, don't watch the look on my face. No, don't have no food and my cupboard's dry. Only God knows how I get by. Oh, don't watch the look on my face. No, she's the sweetest thing that you've ever seen. Selling her body wasn't in her dreams, no. Don't watch the look on her face, no. No, because we have a pleasant look. If you don't know the story, don't judge the book. Please don't. No, watch the look on my face, no. Even though I smile, it is only for a while. My tears could fill the river Nile, but I sweep my troubles underneath my pride. Yes, I'm gonna smile, though it's only for a while. Till my worries subside, I will sweep my troubles underneath my pride.
Talk about love, talk about trust, talk about forever, baby. Talk about us. I give you my word, stick to my guns. Believe it when I say it, baby. It's just begun. You don't understand, oh girl, the full intent of my plan. But baby, I wanna be your sole provider. And baby,
some time. You got my heart in the palm of your hands. I swear it's gonna stay there, baby. Give me half a chance. You don't understand, no, the full intent of my plan. Baby, I wanna be your sole provider. Baby, I wanna stay that way for the longest time. Baby,
Yeah, once again, it's the gallery here on the Crib Power Jam Radio. Big up to everybody that's out there listening. Good night to you, V. Joseph, who says that it's sad to say that people are still talking about how bad domestic violence is. And, you know, she's also thanking Nicole for speaking up and for Crib Power Jam Radio, as well as the gallery for hosting this forum. Also mentioned, V. Joseph also mentioned that the numbers did go up during the pandemic. So we are, still joined by Nicole Sharpe of the head of Hurley Foundation. So, later on in the program, in the second hour, we'll get into more of a discussion, about that as well. So at this time of the program, we're going to get into our health tip. Of course, we do a health tip every week here on the gallery. So we're going to get into our health tip for the day.
Paging Dr. BadMan.
So this week we're going to talk about black walnut, as opposed to regular walnuts that you know about. This is grown in the wild, as opposed to something that is grown to be domesticated. But it has, a lot of potential benefits for your mind and your body. And one of the things that it does, improve cardiovascular health. So it's something that can lower your bad cholesterol, as well as increase the good cholesterol in your body. And overall, it can prevent a lot of diseases, and because it's also good for your digestive system, it's good for your gut health. It's one of those things that you can utilize to lose weight because it's packed high in fiber. So once again, we talk about black walnut. It's also one of those things that can lower your blood sugar. So for those that are at risk for diabetes, it's one of those things that you can add to your diet, and it's packed with many vitamins such as A, iron, minerals, and fibers. And that's this week's health tip from Dr. BadMan.
we quarrel and we fight, but we're gonna make it up tonight. I love you, baby. Hey. Me and my lover just always a fight, but him know where for do for make me smile get bright. We war on him left and no come back till late in the hours with a bunch of the nicest flowers. Even though me vex, still me blood a boil. One look below the waist, I'm humble like a child. Can't help it, me couldn't hide the feeling. Plus him a thrill me with the more sweet talking. You know me not gonna knock you down, baby. Now me just want hold you down, baby. Him say go and go put on your tongue, baby. And before you know it is another baby. You know me now go box you down, baby. Now me just want hold you down, baby. Him say go and go put on your tongue,
The gallery with BadMan Benny.
This is the thing about a quarrel is when everything no work out right. But if you got anything like me and for me babes, when even when me just done malice him for days, and I swear say me I go left if him not change him tricky ways. We love for one another, make everyone amazed. The children believe in everything he says. We only going through a phase, so come tell me sorry soft in my ears. You know me now gonna knock you down, baby. Now me just want hold you down, baby.
Good night to you, Dolores. Welcome to the gallery.
Baby. And before you know it is another baby. You know me now gonna knock you down, baby. Now me just want hold you down, baby. Him say go and go put on your thumb. And before you know it is another baby. A real man, so me now fi run him head. No man can't come in on me bed. So even if you always see we argue about most of the things when enough man no want do, like fi help out with the kids, pay the bills on time. No nasty up me house when me just done
shine. Me can't search your phone, but you want search mine. A war when the whole of that combine. You know me nah go knock you down, baby. Now me just want hold you down, baby. Him say go and go put on your tongue, baby. And before you know it is another baby. You know me now go box you down, baby. Now me just want hold you down, baby. Him say go and go put on your tongue, baby. And before you know it is another baby.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Naija Chanel, and you are now rocking with The Gallery with Benyamin, a.k.a. BadMan Benny. Let's get it.
Watch in the Brooklyn, and me I say New York. BadMan Benny. You know what the thing is? Me I say Caribbean Power Jam. Some boy if you know. Simple as I represent, one not government. Right now, sound up, bad sound up play. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big eh. Sound up, bad sound up play. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big eh. Benny, one knock, one clap. No time at all, you know fire one pop with repeated shot automatic your lap. Head a roll like jelly and chop. Dub plate inna the body and stop. Triple dub plate pan heavy sound clash Benny. Play about the chop. Sound up, sound a go day. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big eh. Sound up, sound a go day. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big eh. Alright, Benny, tell them no fear man. Are you a kill sound from day one? Oh them fi disrespect Caribbean Power Jam when we a kill from day one. Them coulda big like King Kong. Benny a fire shot man a fling bomb. Pump pick off like sick man. Them don't be bad fly and them gal and pitch fan. So tell them sound up, bad sound up play. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big eh. Sound up, bad sound up play. Caribbean Power Jam, I go bust them big eh. Yeah man, you know what the thing there now, they do it and done by simple as I represent for the whole Caribbean Power Jam family. Yeah man, Brooklyn, I say New York. Sound.
So once again, it is the gallery here on Caribbean Power Jam Radio as we return for the second hour of our program this evening. Once again, thanking you all out there. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel for the gallery. Like us on Facebook as well as follow us on Instagram, and we appreciate everybody that's out there joining us. And as for those that are watching on the YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, we are still joined by Nicole Sharpe of the Heather Hurley Foundation. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask to Nicole, just feel free to put them in the chats. Just to let Nicole know we do have 2 more questions coming up just now. But before we get into that, just want to remind everybody that the Jammers Ball taking place on December 31st. It is the annual event presented by Caribbean Power Jam Radio. So once again, you want to make sure that you get your tickets to be in the Jammers Ball taking place once again December 31st, the annual event presented by Caribbean Power Jam Radio. And on the hip hop tip, if anybody's interested in joining a bus ride to go down to Atlantic City the weekend of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. weekend to see KRS-One, Method Man, Redman, The Lox, Mace, Freeway, and Beanie Siegel in concert, you can actually contact me directly for that. You can find me, Benyamin, BMB, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, BENYAMIN, BMB. I'll be running my annual bus ride to Atlantic City. So, the bus ride will include seeing the concert, going to the after party, as well as casino bonus as well. So if anybody's interested in that, spending a weekend down in Atlantic City and seeing that big concert, once again, KRS-One, Met the Man and Redman, Freeway, Mace, Beanie Siegel, The Locks. You could contact me directly in regards to that. So definitely, keep it locked to the Caribbean Power Jam Radio. Once again, just reminding everybody about Jammers Ball. Once again, you can get your tickets for Jammers Ball by contacting the office of Caribbean Power Jam Radio. Log on to the website, CaribbeanPowerJamRadio.com. You can find Caribbean Power Jam Radio on Facebook and Instagram, so you can get your details as well as for all of that. So I just wanted to make that announcement for those two events coming up. So what we're going to do now, for those that are avid listeners of the gallery, we're going to get into our Looking Forward segment. This is the segment of our program where we play music from up-and-coming artists. So if there's any artists out there that has music they would like for us to play, you can feel free to contact us, and we'll give you the details on how you can have your music submitted for this segment. Now, normally what we do is we play 3 songs, and then you, the listener audience, gets an opportunity to vote for your favorite of the 3 songs we play. But at the end of every month, we have what is called the Winner's Circle, where we play all the winning artists for the month. So each week you have a poll, and you get to go out there and vote. So we're going to play the winning songs. So we actually didn't have a program the first week of this month, but during the second week of the month, we did have a program, and the winner was the song that we actually started off the program with this evening. It was Abia Yisrael, song called Love is Free once again.
The breath of life is free, but it's a struggle to survive. Financially, economically, things are rough. We need change politically. The breath of life is free, but it's a struggle to survive. Financially, economically, things tough. We need to focus spiritually. Love each other, time to come together. Stop the killing and the scamming and the gunting. Black minds thinking together. Black businesses, wealth for the future. Education, protection for the children. Steer them in a new direction. Raise the leaders we want to see, so we have a safer society. Life is free, but it's a struggle to survive. Financially, economically, things are rough. We need change politically. The breath of life is free, but it's a struggle to survive. Financially, economically, things tough. We need to focus spiritually. Yeshua set us free from the struggles that we face daily. Open the scripture, burn Babylon. Firm and strong in this system. Can't make words whether you walk in the path you choose for you. Life has ups and downs, but give your thanks in everything. Life is free, but it's a struggle to survive. Financially, economically, things are rough. We need change politically. The breath of life is free, but it's a struggle to survive. Financially, economically.
So that is one of the winners from the Looking Forward segment of the gallery this month. She goes by the name of Abia Yisrael, song called Life is Free, off of the Sky Voice Rhythm from Natalie, who's out there in the chat. And, last week we played 3 songs. You, the listening audience, went out there and voted for your favorite of those songs. And this week's winner for our Looking Forward segment is Shatia Nari's song called Distant Lover. Once again, big up to everybody out there. In the meantime, just get yourself engaged. If you have any questions for Nicole Sharpe, feel free to put them in the chat. And make sure in the meantime you share all the lives and the love.
You were my lover, you were my friend, through thick and thin, you were my dark night, you were
will raise all stones. Broken heart mended, I didn't mourn. You did no wrong, you did no wrong. There was no one like you, you that can do the things you do. Do you wiped away all my pain? Dry up all the rain. You were mine to claim. I didn't yearn for anything. The memories of you and me. Oh, the memories. The memories of you and me. Oh, the distant lover, my distant friend. You are all you know. You are my everything. You are my distant lover, my distant friend. You are all you know. You are my everything. You blew our dark nights into the sunlight. You are my king, my everything.
So that is your winner from the song that we played last week, Shatia Nari, song called Distant Lover. So congratulations to her on winning this week. So big up yourself. Might be speaking to her as well as Abia Yisrael next week. We would have spoken to Abia Yisrael this week, because what's the normal flow of things is that the winner of the Looking Forward segment, we speak to them the following week, but we had a special program lined up for this evening. So in regards to domestic violence awareness, being that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we are joined by Nicole Sharpe of the Heather Hurley Foundation. So we're gonna get her back online as well. So if you have any questions, any comments as well, in regards to this subject that you want to put out there, just feel free to put it out there in the chat. Once again, make sure you have the Caribbean Power Jam Radio app, and also everybody out there on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. So as we continue on with the program this evening, just want to welcome Abby to the gallery. Want to welcome Nahali L as well, and once again, just thanking you all out there for joining us once again to the gallery. So, question for you, Nicole. Just a question. As a minor, if you can recognize domestic violence in the home, what can you do as a child to help?
I would say to tell a trusted member of society in your life, maybe a teacher, someone in your family. But if someone in your family, if you don't have that, maybe a friend's mother or father, someone in, like I said, a teacher. I think a teacher, a guidance counselor in school. Yes, you can tell them, and they'll be able to guide you. I remember when I was in school, I was told not to tell anyone what's happening in the house. That's the problem, right? So I never told anyone, but I used to go to school and I would just exaggerate, like, if I had pain in my legs, I would just exaggerate it more and more, just so the teacher can ask me, "What's wrong, Nicole?" And then I'll just blurt out, like, "Hey, I'm experiencing this," but no one ever asked me. I guess my exaggerations weren't enough, but I knew that I could never say anything, and that's the problem. Because usually, like my mother, who was the victim, she would tell me, "Don't tell anyone what's happening in the house," And I know that is what keeps a lot of children silent, and that's unfortunate. But it's okay to tell someone like a guidance counselor. And I know it's hard, but I would say to take that step and just tell a trusted adult what's happening.
And another question, you sort of touched this earlier, and actually you did touch it just a few minutes ago as you were speaking. And how did you feel experiencing that as a child firsthand, in terms of what you had to deal with?
I felt like I was living in a prison. I felt like I was living in a war zone. I had to be subjected to witnessing the violence all the time. And where do I run to? So sometimes I would run to my bedroom and then just start writing. That's how I was able to develop a writing ability. Just write stories and write myself into the story as a protagonist and just take my mind away. But every daily I was traumatized by my environment. So it was horrible living in such an environment where I'm walking on eggshells, not knowing when the next blow up would be. And even though the violence didn't happen daily, I was still very nervous, like daily. Just trying to prepare myself for when there was another blow up and wondering, is this the day that my mom is gonna die or my father may die? Ever since I was a little girl, I knew that one of my parents was gonna die and it was probably gonna be my mother. So growing up with that on your head, it's a lot. It's really hard to put in complete words, but I did write a book about it. It's called The End of November, Growing Up with Domestic Violence. I don't know if you can see. It's called The End of November, Growing Up with Domestic Violence, and you can get it on Amazon if you would like to read my story. It's an easy read. I actually wrote it like a child who's actually still experiencing. I had to take myself back to that space and write like a child so that people can understand that children are going through a lot when they're experiencing like violence. And yeah, this really breaks it down what I've been through. So if you would like to, it's on Amazon.
Yeah, just show the cover again. You said till the end.
I know it's kind of blurred out, but the end of November, Growing Up with Domestic Violence.
Okay, The End of November. So once again, that's a book by Nicole Sharpe. I'll see if I can find that on. But you said it's available on
Amazon.
On Amazon. So,
and Barnes and Noble.
And Barnes and Noble.
Amazon is much easier to get it. Okay. It's a paperback book.
So everybody out there that's listening, you see how Nicole was able to deal with what she went through. Also, writing a book, about her experiences and just writing a book period. And I guess that was, like you mentioned, one of your outlets, to deal with that. So we were speaking about some of the things that people can do, as survivors of domestic violence or domestic abuse. And Nicole mentioned earlier, therapy is one of the best answers, but I guess writing books, being able to speak about your scenario, publicly, connecting with other people via that, those mediums is also a therapeutic way, because instead of bottling in the emotions, you get an opportunity to put those emotions out there, as well as get some feedback from people as well. It's we're speaking to Nicole for the second time this month. I mean, not this year. The second time period. It's for being that it's October's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it takes a lot of courage to speak about this as well. But as she mentioned earlier, she was able to start a foundation, which is basically international at this point. So other than Uganda, and then bringing it back to the U.S. and other than New York, what areas have you been able to reach?
New York, Uganda, and those are for now. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll look to expand as we get increasing resources, but that's where we are right now. I do want to mention that, and I always forget to mention this, but I was appointed by former Governor Cuomo to the Office for the Prevention of Domestic Violence Advisory Council. And my appointment was proposed by Senator Kevin Parker's office here in Brooklyn. And so he appointed me to that advisory council. So the Office for the Prevention of Domestic Violence basically cares for how domestic violence is treated in the entire state of New York. And they're located in Albany. So I've been on that advisory council like almost 5 years now. And I'm able to give my viewpoint and my input when it comes to how domestic violence should be treated, especially from a child's standpoint. And they also appointed me to their fatality review committee. And so what we do throughout the year is we travel to different counties and review domestic violence murders from the inception of when authorities were first told about for every step that took until the murder actually happened. And then we look and see what went wrong, what could have been done better, and then take that data to use to change legislation. And I'm happy to say that since I've been on the council I've seen them actually change some legislation. Like very recently, Governor Hochul, she signed a law into effect finally, which seizes weapons from any abuser. So once there's an order of protection that is filed, if that person has any weapons, they have to surrender them. And if they don't surrender them, now the courts have to put in for a seizure to seize them. And that's going to help so many lives to be saved. I mean, yeah. So she did this on October 20th this month. So I'm just really happy about that. Another law that came into effect was strangulation. Strangulation wasn't actually a crime before, if you can imagine. Now it's a crime.
Yeah, I didn't.
Right?
Yeah, I would never realize that.
Because people think that once you live through a strangulation, no, you're fine. You're gonna heal. Yes, you're gonna heal. Thank God. But it's an actual crime. So now it's a crime for the books. So I'm happy about that. That also came from that office as well. So and a number of other changes. So I'm happy to be on that team.
And so once again, speaking about the weapons being seized, because for those that don't know that are outside of New York, New York recently, from the Supreme Court, gun laws were changed in New York. New York City specifically had some very strict gun laws. And it did basically spread throughout the state, but various states have whether open carry or concealed permits, either or. Mm-hmm. New York City didn't even have that, so it was very difficult. So now in the wake of that, and now you're mentioning that those that have a quote unquote domestic violence charge, that would be something that caused them to not be able to have access to guns in the wake of a multitude of gun applications being filed in the past few months. Once the Supreme Court blocked New York State from the laws that they had, the gun laws that they had. So I mentioned some of these laws are important to know about. Election day is next Tuesday. So as a side note, just reminding everybody that who you vote for is very important. Just check out the policies that people have. We're not here endorsing anybody particular at this point, but just check out the resume of because the governor's seat is actually up. The New York governor's seat, the New York State governor's seat is actually up for election next week. But definitely on a local level, you want to see if any of your city council has seats open that people are running for. You also want to check out any judges' seats that are open that people are running for. So, it's not just always the presidential election to focus on, but just on a local level. And that's where some of these laws that Nicole just mentioned, they come into effect because it's more on a local level that a lot of things actually get implemented. So, just, for everybody bearing that in mind, with election day taking place next week here, countrywide, that you want to make sure that who's running for these various seats. So as you mentioned, some of these laws that were put there, as well as you mentioned the various things that you are able to do. And I know you had an event, was it last week? I know it's an annual event that you do, and
it's called Purple Power. And this is our 11th year that we had it. It's a big awareness event that my colleague and friend Dion Davis and we put together along with Fayan. And it's just raising awareness. And every year it gets bigger and bigger. We want to break the silence of domestic violence, because with silence, I believe that domestic violence thrives. But when you shine the light on domestic violence and break that silence, it just breaks away those chains. And so just wearing purple ribbons, which purple ribbons shows that we're in solidarity with victims and survivors of domestic violence. And just talking about domestic violence, it actually changes things for the better. So we just had our very cool Purple Power event, and this theme this year that Dion gave it was Be Lifted Up. And certainly everyone was lifted up. I know it's a heavy subject, domestic violence, but everyone always comes out of that place very encouraged because we're coming together as a community and we're saying no to this thing, this pervasive social disease, and we're putting our foot down together, not just alone. You're not alone. There are many people that want to end this as well. So when we mobilize ourselves, we even had police officers from the 67th Precinct. We had the Honorable Assemblywoman Monique Chandler Waterman there. We had the illustrious Denise Belfon, entertainer from Trinidad, who is a survivor, give her story and then perform. It just was really, really uplifting to see all these types of people and local musicians come together and saying no to domestic violence. Purple Power.
It's a Purple Power, so everybody look out for that next year. The annual event put on by the Heather Hurley Foundation. And as you mentioned, Dion Davis, one of your, I guess, co-workers. I don't know if that's the right term to use, but
my partner in crime here. So she's the treasurer for the foundation, but she's way more than that. Yes. Without her, a lot of these things that we're able to do wouldn't come to pass. I mean, you always need a team of people who actually have great intentions, and she does. She just couldn't be here today. She's traveling.
Yeah, because we just speak to her last year as well.
Yes.
When we were all in studio. And as well,
I also want to say hi to Lisa, who's watching right now, who's also on the board and was there from the very beginning, the inception of the Heather Hurley Foundation. And even before that, when we started doing our campaign of raising awareness at SUNY Downstate Medical Center, where we all worked. So I just want to say hello to Lisa and Harrison and Lorraine and everyone who's on the board.
And also a shout out to Fayan as well.
Yes.
Fayan Young.
Our host with the mostest, hostess with the mostest.
Who I knew from since junior high school days. So that was
part really?
of how we were able to make that connection last year.
Okay.
Because we were speaking about that a little bit briefly on the air last year, because that was my first time seeing her in 30 years ever since junior high school. So
wow.
Actually, it would be more than 30.
Cool.
It would be more than 30 years, but I don't want to give her age. I don't mind giving my age. If you think about junior high, it's actually
let me get my calculator.
It's more than 30 years. more like 35. But yes, able to see her. Might be speaking. Just a couple of other people did want to join us this evening. They may pop in before the end of the program. Another person from junior high school as well that most likely would remember Fayan and probably didn't see her in the same amount of time, as well as some other people that may join us this evening. I'm trying to keep my eye on Zoom. But in the meantime, everybody, if you have any questions that you would like to ask Nicole or any comments in regards to domestic violence, feel free to put them in the chat. Once again, as you see, we are not in studio, so you don't have the opportunity to call in. But once again, you can just type in your questions as well as any comments. And if you've gone through any situation like this, or if you know anybody that's going through a situation, we want to hear about it, because as Nicole is speaking about it, and this type of dialogue is actually therapeutic. Yes. And it also helps to solve a lot. V Joseph says thanks for the shout out from the HF board. So that's from V.
HF, Heather Hurley Foundation.
But that's from V Joseph. So she gave you she thank you. So I'm sorry for the shout out that you give. So shout out to everybody from the Heather Hurley Foundation. Shout out to everybody from all the foundations that bring awareness to domestic violence and abuse, and looking for ways to solve it, to stop it. We covered some of the steps that people can go through in order to get out of that situation. We cover some of the steps that people can go through to manage their lives after coming out of that situation. We spoke about we're gonna actually spoke briefly about teens. So just going back to teens, like what are some of the things, and it was something that it was mentioned sort of indirectly with the question, and you mentioned that you deal with teens also. The program you said Bloom that you mentioned.
Yeah, Bloom 365 is the organization that dispenses a great curriculum. You can check them out on www.bloom365.org. They're based in Arizona. I actually went to Arizona and was trained by Bloom. And we actually had a training also with we have students in Uganda. We partnered with Nkumba University there. And we have a set of students who wanted to, be trained on how to teach others, young people, their peers, how to have more healthy relationships and to uproot abusive tendencies. And this is what the curriculum for Bloom 365 does. They're on a mission, the website says, to prevent abuse before it starts. And I love how their mission, their vision is simple. The vision, safe and healthy relationships for all. Why can't we just do that? It sounds so simple, right? But we can do that if we cause an intervention in the lives of young people. I always say that prevention is better than cure is. This is a great way to prevent it for the future, for our future generations. We want to break that dirty cycle of domestic violence, and have our young people, who are the future, have more healthy relationships. So, and this is what the curriculum does. It really breaks down social norms that are destructive, and it helps you to expose yourself and how your mindset is. A lot of times we don't even realize that we're on that road, that path to either being an abuser or a victim. And we might even be there and not even realize, hey, I'm a victim of domestic violence, intimate partner violence. But it exposes you, teaches you also how to now just uproot that bad, those bad tendencies and replace them with a more healthy roots, a more healthy outlook on life, causing more healthier relationships, not just intimate ones either. Any interpersonal relationship improves with your co-workers, family members, any interpersonal relationship. It just helps you to be a more well-rounded individual. And what I really like about the program, it's a great initiative, is that it's peer-driven. So young people teaching young people. Because young people don't listen to older people. They don't really want to hear what we have to say because we were out of tune. We don't know as much as they do, right? But young people teaching young people.
I mean, unfortunately, they do listen because, as you mentioned earlier, some of the violent behavior is learned behavior. So where they may not listen to words, they listen to the actions. Point. So they will listen. It's just a matter of the actions that we display as opposed to the words. So as you mentioned, getting to teens, getting in their minds early, whether it's through peer work or just having a mentorship, it gets to the root early because they may be living in households that are violent, and because it's their parents or their mother with a partner or their father with a partner that's being violent, that when you're young you just think you're still learning, so there's just things that you think are okay because you see it around you. And as you mentioned, they may get in relationships as teenagers and exhibit those same abusive behavior to their partner, thinking that it's okay because they see that's they figure that's a way to express love. So it's a good thing to reach out to teenagers as well, and especially in regards to this because you can, as they say, nip it in the bud. Get to it early.
We've been,
no, go ahead.
We've been trying to do. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, say go ahead. Yeah,
we've been trying to get this program into schools for a couple of years, and we're almost about to. Then the pandemic happened in 2020, but now we're working with Assembly Member Monique Chandler Waterman's office to get this initiative into our high schools. So I'm really excited about that. Hopefully it'll be there by next semester.
And as you mentioned, all throughout, I'm just going to mention again, next week is election day. You did a lot of name dropping, so
I didn't.
No, I didn't do it intentionally.
I'm just saying the people who have helped me helped the foundation to get to this point.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's it's a good
honorable
thing.
mentions.
Yeah, it's a good thing because that way people hear certain names and they know that, you know, these are not people that are just right now in the circuit, and then when election day is over, you don't hear from them again. You know, so as we were mentioning, you know, you want to check out the backgrounds of people that are running, because there are going to be some things that they do in the background that will affect your life personally. So, you know, you mentioned some of the laws that were either changed or enacted that may save some lives.
Yes.
And it's as a result of, you know, the politicians that, you know, may be campaigning now, and, you know, they may not be championing the certain bills or whatever that are going to be in place, but they make sure that certain things are in place. And, you know, if you save one life, it could go a long way. So, you know, just wanted to connect that. So, yeah, nothing wrong with name dropping. You know, it's good that these individuals are active. You know, we didn't vote for them and didn't hear from them anymore. So, you know, and
they're active on a subject that most people don't want to talk about. So that's big if you think about it.
So once again, we're talking domestic violence, domestic abuse, also currently known as intimate partner violence or intimate partner abuse. So if you have any questions, any more comments before we, you know, for everybody that's listening, before we end the show, you can feel free to put that out there in the chat, whether you're watching on or you're listening on the Caribbean Power Jam Radio app. Everybody out there on YouTube for the gallery, and make sure that you do subscribe to the channel for the gallery, DAGALLERY, and also like our page on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. You know, I'm glad to see that, you know, people out there. Good night to you, Rhonda. She gave some hand claps earlier based on the work that you mentioned that you were doing earlier. Just happened to catch that comment. So good night to you, Rhonda. So you know, forums like this give us all the opportunity to, you know, spread this information, you know, worldwide. As you mentioned earlier, you basically have a chapter in Uganda, and, you know, therefore, you know, those that are in Uganda, you know, they may be sleeping right now, but, you know, when they wake up, you could always let them know that you are on this program as well. So, you know, speaking about Uganda once again, you know, so for those that would watch this video later on, what message would you give directly to them?
See, over there, domestic violence, like here, is part of the culture, unfortunately. We really want to help the first responders, the police officers and such, to realize this is a crime. So first, they have to acknowledge that it is a crime, so that they don't minimize when they're called to a situation, you know, what they're seeing is violence, and then just shrug their shoulders or get paid off by the abuser to just, you know, turn their eyes the other way. We want to change. We want to change the first responders there, and we're working on that. So we had a Purple Power there in Uganda. I'm so sorry I didn't mention that. So for the first time, we just went last month, and we had a Purple Power there, and the students from Nkumba, they helped us to bring this all together, and Pastor Deo, who's the director over the offices there. And we had judges there, we had lawyers there, we had pastors there, we had survivors there. It was really a great event, and we want to do this every year to raise awareness. And it was just really good having a panel with the officer and some of the lawyers on how domestic violence is treated, and a really cool skit by the students there as well on what happens when a person reports that they're being abused, what truly happens behind the scenes. Like I mentioned, bribery, you know, things like that. We want to put all of that to an end. But I just want to let the survivors know, once you're alive, you're a survivor. Once you are alive, you are a survivor. You're strong. God made you to be strong. Be encouraged, because this doesn't have to be your finality. You don't have to die. You can get help. You can actually reach out to the Mirembe African Village in Kampala and in Tebe. is Kampala is the capital. Entebbe is another major city. Rambe African Village services that area. We're trying to get more known so that people can know that they have a place to go. There are lawyers. Lawyers there actually help victims of domestic violence. So if you go to a police station, you can ask for a lawyer that can help you, and they can be able to help you to find that lawyer. But we're trying to improve the situation there.
And this actually just came to mind. I don't probably be able to connect you to someone on the parliament. Someone I know, Gershom Sazomi. I believe he's still in the parliament in Uganda. He's also a rabbi as well for one of the communities out there. Yes, I actually probably could reach out to him. So if there's any additional help that he may be able to get on a governmental level, might be able to get that for you.
Please.
So yeah, that just came to mind. that I actually knew somebody from Uganda that actually is on parliament, coincidentally. So just
can I also mention something really quickly? I know we're about to end. Some people usually ask about red flags of domestic violence. So I have my red flag.
Okay.
We use these red flags in Purple Power. We have a skit called Red Flag Speed Dating, where we expose different red flags, right? But in a fun way. But it's not a fun situation when you're in a relationship and you don't know how to read red flags in relationships. So these are a couple of the red flags. Embarrassing or putting you down. When a person looks at you and acting in a way that scares you, they might not say anything, like I'm going to hit you or anything like that, but they're giving you a menacing look. Controlling who you see, where you go, and what you do. Keeping you or discouraging you from seeing your friends and family, that's isolation. Taking your money or refusing to give you money for expenses. Preventing you from making your own decisions, so here they are making your decisions for you. Telling you that you're a bad parent or threatening to harm or take away your children. Preventing you from working or attending school to better yourself. I remember my mother, she got her schooling in Barbados. But when she came here, she decided, I want to get my high school diploma. She didn't really need it, but she said to me, let's get it. And she put up her certificate. My father beat her and took it down and beat her. And he told her, if you ever put that back up there again, I'm going to beat you. So she put it back up the very next night and he beat her again. And then she never put it up again. So there's something about wanting to help yourself to progress educationally that they don't like, because now that means that you're slipping away from their control. Yeah. So preventing you from working or attending school. Blaming you for the abuse. That's called gaslighting, or acting like it's not really happening, gaslighting. Destroying your property or threatening to hurt you or kill your pets. Intimidating you with weapons. Shoving, slapping, choking, hitting you. Those are the more obvious ones. So these are just some of the red flags to look out for. And you need to get out of that relationship and get help.
Yeah, so once again, those were the red flags as listed by Nicole Sharpe. So if you see yourself in any of those scenarios, or if you know anybody in any one or more of those scenarios, you definitely want to seek help. And it seems like, as you mentioned, the broader scope is that it's about control.
Yes.
There is the physical aspect, which is the domestic violence aspect, but the domestic abuse aspect is where it's the control. Whether it is, as you mentioned, preventing someone from improving their life, because that way it would cause them to be totally dependent upon you. Mm-hmm. Or maybe, they don't want to see you excel more than them. So it could be either or, but, just exhibiting some sort of control over your work life, over your educational achievements, control of your finances, not allowing you the opportunity to utilize your finances for yourself. So it's all about control. So any of these physical, mental, or financial controls that someone has over you, or that you see someone has over someone else, these are the red flags that you that are raised, and you definitely want to get someone help. What was mentioned earlier, for those that when the show's over, you're going to go back to the video. We spoke about the steps of getting out of a violent scenario, and some of the things, of the coping mechanisms for those that have survived. And as Nicole mentioned, once you are alive, you are a survivor of that. So definitely thank you for joining us this evening here on the program. Once
Thank
again,
you for having me again.
And Godspeed of Life, we'll speak next October. But of course, you don't have to wait till next October. If there's anything that you want to pop in at any time during the year, you could just contact me, and you can join the program in the future. Because of course, October is dubbed Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but domestic violence doesn't only occur in 1 month. So it's always good to have these reminders throughout the year, and to get people the help that they need all throughout the year. So anything that you want to leave for everybody, not just those in Uganda, but everyone.
Yeah, I just want to stress the domestic violence hotline, 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. They help you wherever you are in the United States, and they're open 24/7. So 1-800-799-7233. And once again, once you are alive, you are a survivor. I do want to leave with that. I think that's very powerful, and a lot of people don't realize that. Survivor, you're surviving. You are alive. You are strong. Be encouraged, because you are alive. Like, my mother is not alive. My mother has been gone for a very long time now, but I try to keep her legacy and her name alive through the foundation. But you are your own foundation. You are alive. You are a survivor. Don't let anyone make you think any less.
So once again, and that will be the positive note for the day. I'll repeat it later on at the close of the program. Once you are alive, you're a survivor. And listen, again, you can jump in the program another time in the future, because there is something you did mention it last time you were here on the program, about, because you spoke a lot about faith, on the program today. And I know you had mentioned at one point that in your life you didn't have this type of faith, and somewhere along the line, that was actually an interesting story that you started. We didn't get the full details, but that would actually be a good conversation to have later on in the future.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to hear from you on that. So once again, just thanking you for joining us this evening on the program here at the gallery.
Thank you.
And congratulations to you in all of the things that you do.
Thank you very
just
much.
praying for much success and prosperity for the Heather Hurley Foundation. And shout out to all of your board, V Joseph out there, and Dion and Fayan and everybody that's part of the HHF board, the HHF community. Big up to everybody out there in Uganda that may catch this later on, because I know you'll be sharing out to those out there as well. So so once again,
Nkumba, shout out to Nkumba University.
And once again, the name of the village is, I know it means peace out there.
Peace Marembe African Village.
So
or Peace
again,
African Village.
Shout out to everybody there. So from New York to the worldwide, this program has been for you, and hopefully this program has helped at least one person. And just share it so other people can hear it and learn from it as well. So didn't get to speak to those that said they wanted to chime in tonight, but we'll probably get an opportunity to do so in a future show. So once again, just thanking Nicole for joining us this evening. Gonna throw in a few tunes before we close out, but yeah, just once again, just grateful that you are a survivor yourself, and you're able to help many people.
Thank you.
Benzil Rap Scheme Possive loop on the beat. Lele mama, 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 yo. Lele mama, 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 mama. She go say down, 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 down. She want to go down, 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 now, now. From Lagos to Los Angeles, see the girls in my wine it. Lagos to Los Angeles, everybody man know.
From Lagos to Los Angeles, see the girls, them a bouncy. Them a bam bam bam. Oh, Lagos to Los Angeles, everybody molo. Yeah. Them say them be no. I dey hustle, they leave me go solo. Say the grinding, I no. I'm taking the lead, them a follow. Mikasa, Sukusa, Oshodi, Wale. Oju Elegba, living la vida loca. Asada, Hispanic to come to. See the way she find my heart desire. She get it back and the front to enter. Oh, lele, ole gua, ole jeje. Lele mama, you. Lele mama. She go say,
Fada, I want to, hammer. I want to spoil my mother. I want to shower your blessings, shower.
Throw back to the tele. See they show me pepper. See they call me tete. No be Kanye tete. As I done they collect. See they one day connect. I want out in Thomas. Like his sister comfort. Oluwa, shower your blessings on me. Blessings on me. Yo. Oluwa, shower your blessings on me. Blessings on me. Yo.
Fada, I want to, hammer. I want to spoil my mother. I want to shower your blessings, Fada, I want to, hammer. I want to spoil my mother. I want to shower your blessings.
Temple for the Twitter, steady commenting on Insta. Ole bao, them start to the beef fam. As I see the para, I find the love in my guitars, yeah. Baba Science, yeah. I can no use my matter play. Show back to the tele. This kind thing done the shell. I know feet take a dead. I won't score goal like you belle. I said tele. This kind thing start to the shell. I know feet take a dead. I won't score goal like you Cristiano Ronaldo. Oluwa, shower your blessings on me. Blessings on me. Yo. Oluwa, shower your blessings on me. Blessings on me. Yo.
My doctor say my journey on top your body, yo. All the times where I do you bad, I'm sorry, yo.
The Gallery with BadMan Benny.
If I fight, make I fight for the love. If I grace, make I grace for the love. Don't want no complication. This is a situation. If I grace, make I grace for the love. If I fight, I go fight for the love. Don't want no complication. This is a situation. Baby, yo, I want to love you for life. Baby, yo, come make I love you for life. I die with my person now. Baby girl, you are the one. Love where I love you now. This kind of love where I love you now. Girl, I wanna be your customer. For your love, I be your hustler. Love where I love you now. Every superwoman is a superman. Your love give me time.
Once again, we thank you all for joining the program this evening as we come to the conclusion of another program as we were discussing domestic violence this evening. So, in conclusion, just going to repeat for the positive note that Nicole Sharpe left all of us with, and that is, once you are alive, you are a survivor. So, for everyone out there, until next time, saying God bless.
Damn, fresh on the beat.
Oh yeah, they call me you.
Hey, if I lie, make thunder fire. Your nobody man no go locate you. Baby, I owe no one apology. Now you I want to call up. the way it's gonna be. Yeah, I go by the Gucci, Benji. You deserve the Ferrari, two Ferrari. I go by the Gucci, Benji. You pass the Ferrari, three Ferrari. Before you know, I know you. Before you know, before you know, I know you. Before you know, before you know, I know you. Before you know, before you know,
my baby too much, oh, baby too bad, oh. If you leave me, girl, I mean I don't gas, oh. Baby too fine, oh, my baby first class, oh. If you leave me, girl, I mean I don't gas, oh. Tell your mama, tell your papa, say I'm in love with only you, girl. Tell your mama, tell your papa, say I'm in love with only you, girl. Arare, arare, I when I see you, no, oh, ah, yeah.
Yeah, I go by the Gucci, Benji. You deserve the Ferrari, two Ferrari. I go by the Gucci, Benji. You pass the Ferrari, three Ferrari. Before you know, I know you. Before you know, before you know, I know you. Before you know, before you know, I know you. Before you know, before you know, I know you. Before you know,
Fresh on the beat.
This is our message for the youth, them in the ghetto, from Kingston to Soweto. Yo. Greetings, I'm Italy, and you're in tune to the gallery. Benyamin, aka BadMan Benny. Keep it locked, right, yes, sir.